Okay, today we are going to begin drawing the Mayflower. This is going to be a pen and ink project that's mixed media. We're going to add in some watercolor, so we're using watercolor paper, and we're going to walk through just the basic steps of drawing your ship today. So the first thing that we're going to do towards the bottom of your watercolor paper is we are going to draw the beginning shape of our ship. So I'll give you a few minutes to get this part drawn, and then I'll walk you through the next section. All right, after you draw the top part of your ship, we're going to draw the base that comes down towards the water. So here on the corner that came up, we're just going to curve that down and then bring it in just a little bit at the bottom. I'm going to leave an opening at the bottom because that's where we're going to draw some water later on. Okay, so the next part that we're going to draw is we're going to start drawing the masts on the ship. That's going to be these parts that hold the sails on. So like here's your main mast. There's another one here. I've got one off to the side. So we're going to start drawing those onto our ship. You might need a ruler for that. If you want to use your ruler, you can. If you want to freehand it, that's fine too. So the first one that we're going to do is this one that kind of comes off at an angle at the back of the ship where our little rectangular sail is. So to do that, I'm going to draw kind of dark, but I want you guys to draw light because you'll have to erase some of this later on, okay? So I am going to just make an angled line that comes from the base of my ship. It's going to go up towards the top of the paper. And I don't want it to be super thick because to show proportion on my ship, it's not going to want to be too thick, okay? So then at the top of it, I'm just going to kind of make this one rounded at the top. All right, so I'm holding up. Sorry, I'm recording live today, so you get to wait on some of the kids here in class. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is just use our ruler. This is where one of the sails are going to go along the back side of my ship. So I'm just going to come towards the top of that mast, and I'm going to make an angled line that comes across. And then I want to kind of stick with the same angle, but it's also going to come down for the second layer of that sail. Okay, so we are going to have some places that we have to erase with this. So right here along the top, I'm just going to double that line. That's where the sail will connect. So on this side, I'm going to connect those two lines. And then on this side, I actually just kind of drew a little oval so it looks like it's rounded. Teeny tiny oval right there. Then I'm going to take my eraser and I am going to erase the background lines there. And I'm also going to erase here in the center because that's where my sail is going to go, so the mast will not show through. Okay? And then I'm just going to freehand a curved line for the sail here, and then another one for the sail here. And I did that curved so it kind of looks like the wind is catching it. Okay, so now we're going to jump to the other side of the ship, and we are going to do, I believe it's called a bowsprit. I tried to look up the parts of the boats online. So this one is going to be a triangular type sail. I'll just show you what mine looks like here. So we're going to do this one here, and then we'll do a triangular sail here on the corner. Okay, so that's what we're working on next. So I'm going to draw an angled line. You don't have to measure it because our ships are not going to be the same size, so it doesn't matter how long it is. Just do what looks in proportion for you. And then I'm just going to curve the end of it to connect it. And then on the top, you can kind of decide how you want that top to look. You can make it rounded, you can make it pointed. But just kind of close that off. Well, because we're going to add a sail to it. Okay, so once you get that part drawn, then we're going to do a sail that connects to the ship. So from the top of that pole that we just drew, you're going to curve that in and then down towards the end of your ship. We're going to do a little thin line that connects to the base of the ship right in the center of this sail. So I've got that little space there. And then on the bottom of the sail, we just have to connect that to the center pole. So I'm going to curve one line in there, one line in over here, so they connect. Then we have to have the ties that, or the rope that kind of ties and connects everything to the ship. So this corner is going to connect with one of those ropes. And then I'm going to use my ruler and connect the center part with a couple of them too. So I'm going to do one here and then just move my ruler a little bit and do another one where you can just kind of see where those lines connect. And then from this pole, those are going to connect down here to the base of the ship. So I'm just going to line up my ruler.
Hey, I forgot the history lesson. Whatever ever happened to the ship? Did it make it safely? Did it burn down?
All right, the next one we're going to do is the foremast. So this one's going to come up. I'm going to kind of start mine right here on one of these little step parts of that look like a step here on the ship. So I'm just going to come straight up with my foremast. It's going to come a little bit taller than that last sail we made. And then at the top of it, I'm going to do just a little bit of a platform on this one. So to make my little platform, it's almost like making just a teeny tiny little box on the top. Okay, so on the top of my foremast, I just made kind of a little bitty box or a platform, and then I did a little peak at the top of mine. Okay, so the next one that we're going to do is the main mast. This one's going to be the one with the biggest sails. So it is going to be off to the right side just a little bit from the center of the ship. So I'm going to start out with a pretty long line that goes from the top of the page to my ship. And then I'm going to do a second one with it, making those parallel. At the top of this one, I'm just going to add a little circle because that's going to be a flagpole here in a minute. Okay, so to do my sails, I want to kind of go with the same angle as the sail I've already drawn. So I'm just kind of lining up my ruler, trying to keep it at the same angle this one is, okay? Then I'm going to do a pole for my sail to connect to coming across the top. And I'm just going to once again do a parallel line. On this side I can put a little oval so it kind of looks rounded. And then on this side I'm just going to curve the line to connect it. And then erase the mast that shows through in the center. I'm going to do the same thing down just a little bit farther to do a second sail. So this one's going to come out a little bit wider than the first one. And once again, a parallel line. You'll have kind of an oval on this side to make it look round, and then a curved line connecting it on this side. And then we're ready to do our sails. You guys doing okay back there?
You're not ready to do our sails. Okay,
then I'm going to pause it for just a minute and let you get caught up. All right, so the next step is to draw the sails. This part you don't need your ruler for. We'll just freehand those. So from the top of this one, we're going to curve it down to the second one. We're going to do the same thing over here, just kind of curve it down to the second one. And then it's going to curve up in the center. You'll come back with your eraser and erase where the mast shows through on the inside. Okay. On the underside, you're going to have your second sail. So this one's going to curve out. And then same thing over here, it's going to curve down, and then they'll connect here. I'm going to come back in and erase where the mast shows through. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is just start connecting the sails with ropes that tie it down. So from the corner of this top sail on our main mast, I'm going to bring a rope that comes down and connects over to the triangular sail that we made at the end. And I'm going to do a second one of those as well. And it's okay if it overlaps over some of the other poles. This one is kind of going to go in behind this pole, so it's like it's tied down on the back side too. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom sail. I'm going to connect that one over with a rope. And this one's going to connect down to the ship with a rope.
Do you want to die today?
Boys?
Is that going?
Yes. You were just recorded saying that. Okay, so next step is going to be to tie down this corner too. So we're just going to do a couple of little angled lines that connect to the ship. Okay. All right, our last mast is going to fit right into the space in between our insail and our main mast. So that's what we're going to draw right here. Okay. I'm going to start out by drawing just the straight parallel lines. This one's not going to go up quite as tall. This one's going to be a little bit shorter. So it will stop right at the base of the ship. This one I'm going to narrow up, and I'm going to put just a kind of a circle on the top of that one. And then once again, kind of the same angle that I used on these sails, I want to add a sail to this other mast. So I'm going to do an angled line here, and then another one right underneath it, making those parallel. And then I'll erase the lines that show through. So I'm going to put a little oval on this end, connect these two, and then I'm ready to add my sail. This one's going to be a little bit smaller, so it's going to curve down here. It's going to curve down here, and then it'll kind of curve up like a rainbow in the center part. And then I'll come back and erase the mast that shows through. After you get that erased, then you're ready to do the sail on the underside of that mast. So I'm just going to do one more of those. So connecting the corners of my sail, another set of parallel lines, put an oval on this end, and then just connect on that end. And then on this one, my sail is going to actually tuck in behind this sail. Okay, on my original piece, I had enough room to do the whole sail. I think this one was drawn a little bit smaller. Let me see if I can sharpen that up a little bit. There we go. I drew this one a little smaller, so I had more room for this one. On the copy that I'm creating now, I don't have near as much space in there, so I'm going to just tuck it in behind the sail that I've already created. So this one's going to curve down and in behind. Same thing here, this one's going to curve down. And then I'll just kind of connect underneath this sail. So all I have to do this time is erase where my mast shows through. And I am recording live during class today, so I apologize for my sweet little angels in the back row that like to make noise while I'm teaching.
Dude, this looks so insane.
That's one of my sweet little angels. All right, I'll give you guys just a couple minutes to get caught up. The next thing that you'll do, just connect with some of those ropes again, kind of like those sails are tied down to other locations. So if you have room, like maybe in under here, I can tie down. Okay, so I'm going to give you just a few minutes to get caught up on what we have so far. All right, our next step, we are going to add a tiny flag right here at the top of the main mast. So at the top of this one, what you're going to do is just kind of make a rippled line, like so. Looks like it's blowing in the wind. And then from those ripples, you're going to bring down a line on each one of those wrinkles of the flag.
Can we make it whatever flag we want to?
I don't care if you guys decorate your flags. That's fine. You can make it your own. Just make it school appropriate. All right.
What is wrong with this flag? Why does it look like a book that's upside down?
All right, our next step, we're going to come up here to the foremast that we drew earlier. I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but they have these little nets on them. So that's going to be the next part that we draw. So I'm going to go ahead and and I don't care, on mine, my net comes out to the left, but if you would rather draw your net out towards the right, that is fine too. I'm going to zoom this in just a little bit so you have a sharper image. Sorry about that. Okay, so on mine, this time I feel like I have a little bit more room off to the right. So I think I'm going to make mine off to the right this time. I'm just going to bring some lines that come down towards my ship. And I want to actually do kind of a triangular shape of 3 of them. And I messed up just a little bit right here. I got off my track with my ruler. So I'm going to do one down the center. And then I'm just going to go back with my ruler and start adding some cross lines to make it almost have a ladder effect to that. So it gives it kind of the net look. And you don't have to go all the way down with it, but I'd go a fair way. At least halfway, maybe a little more. Okay. Next step, we're just going to add a little bit of detail to the base of our ship. So the first thing that I'm going to do is make a line for some railings. I'm going to do a bottom line. And then I'm also going to do a line across the top. And I'll have to do a little bit of erasing, so make sure you draw lightly. Like I said, now I'm just going to start drawing in some boxes for railings. And then I'll have to leave some spaces. And go back and erase. So like right here, I would erase.
So I done messed up.
Okay, so you're just going to continue those railings so they go clear across on the edge of your ship at the top. And then I'm going to show you my work in progress on this one. I'm doing the same thing right along the base of my ship too. So this one I haven't quite finished yet. But that will be your next step. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line here. If it doesn't meet up exactly with the top of your ship, the top line there, that's okay if it's curved. I'm just going to use my ruler to make the railing part straight. And it doesn't have to be super big. This is just kind of the fine detail work. So once again, I'm just kind of coming in, sectioning that off so that it looks like it has some little railings there, and then I'll go back and erase the lines in between those railings so they look like little boxes. And then I'm just going to give you a few minutes to continue with that. All right, so this wraps up the first session of our drawing, and we'll continue with it tomorrow.